What's up, y'all? Baby, I woke up early today. Well, early for me, okay? Y'all know I'm a night owl. Um, but last night I went to sleep. What time did I get in bed? It was around like midnight. That's early for me. Okay? Um, no, I just told a lie. I just told a whole lie. Well, no, I got in bed around midnight, but I didn't go to sleep until around 2. Yeah. Anyways, so I was watching New York, Real Housewives of New York last night. And then I turned it off because I just wasn't interested. I like New York. I do. Um, but I have to be honest and say that none of these women on this show, Brian, Cy, Jenna, Aaron, Raquel, Uba, who else? Jessel, they're not interesting enough, funny enough, charming enough to just be able to sit around the table and just have conversation, if that makes sense. Like if it was Kenya, Nene, Phaedra, Portia, Cynthia, they could probably sit around a table and pull us into the conversation and make the conversation interesting enough by just sitting at a dinner table and kikiing and laughing. I don't get none of that from any of these girls. Um, so yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do because girl, y'all really not that girl like that. Like y'all might be that girl in the industry that you work in, but you're not like this reality star. Well, girl, my personality is just you know. um, Raquel finally kind of pulled me into her story. I was not interested in the lesbian story. I just wasn't. I was not interested in the lesbian with 2 kids and a girlfriend. Girl. Um, this episode, we found out a little bit more about Raquel. She, um, her mother left her father when she was 1. She started to ask questions about her father when she was 11. Her mother got in contact with her father's brother to try and get in contact with her father. The father told her basically, "Don't call me. I don't want no parts. I don't want to deal with you." Ooh, girl. This is what her father told her at 11 years old. The brother then called the father and I guess basically got into his tail and told him, long story short, that's your daughter. Um, the Raquel and the father, they hung out one time. I think it was for Christmas. I don't know. I can't remember. But they hung out one time. And like they basically took pictures. And I think it was more than one child. He cut the pictures up, gave them a piece of the picture, and basically said deuces. And that was the last time she saw her father. She went home and told her mother that because she had her father's last name. At this point, she was 12. Um, she told her mother that she did not want his last name. And it really got to me because we've had this conversation down here before. And I forgot who, I think it was Dwight Howard's son. We've had this conversation more than a few times. And it's so mind-boggling to me that there are people out there. I keep trying to watch my TV. But I'm more interested in watching TV than talking about this review. There are more people out there than I think either people may not know that even at 11 or 12, kids have enough sense to know an ain't-ish man, even if it is their father. I remember being very, very young, and I don't want to, probably 10, I can't remember the age, but I was young. And I remember my mama telling me that I would have to change my last name. She had put my father on child support, and he was basically saying that I would have to have his last name. You know, all they care about is legacy, girl. Okay? And I remember telling my mother to her face, I'm not taking that man's last name. I'm not. I'm not. I don't know what you gonna do. Now I ain't say all that. Okay. But I remember telling her, I'm not taking that man's last name. I'm not. I'm not telling anybody that's my last name. I'm not changing my last name. I bet y'all didn't change my last name. Hello? You got to change your last name because that's your father's request. I don't care what his request is. I'm not changing my last name. So when I see these stories of kids saying that they don't want to change their last name, or they're changing their last name, and there are people in the comments, ain't no kid said nothing like that. Yes, it is, because I was one of them. Raquel was one of them. I think it was the White Howard son. I can't remember who it was, but there are kids out there who have enough understanding of, I don't want to carry that man's last name. Now we probably can't articulate our thoughts all the way through and through, right? But we know enough to know that we don't want no parts of that man. Not like that. Hello. So Raquel wanted to change her last name to her mother's last name. Her mother then tells her, well, no, you don't want my last name either, because my daddy was an ain't shit nigga like your daddy was. Girl. So then they had to go, I think, the family book and find a name where they felt was suitable enough for Raquel to change her last name to. I thought that was an interesting story. I was like, okay. Raquel kind of broke down. Of course, her and Bryn started to trauma bond. Okay. Because Bryn, did not have the best relationship with her father, and I think Bryn's father passed away. Um, Rebecca is, I think, pumping. I think her baby is like 2 or 3. I can't remember. She just didn't have a baby. I thought she had just had a baby. But no, I think she's still pumping. I don't know, girl. I'm not interested in Rebecca. I'm not. Girl, I really want to get into Bryn. I think that's why I'm so aggravated this episode. Ugh, Brent. When I tell you Brent, girl, let me hear it, because I gotta get. I don't even want, girl. Okay, Brent wants to go home. Brent is crying. I'll say this much: I can understand Brent's point of view about wanting to go home just a little bit. Brent is messy. She is. The part where they mess up, Uber saw all of them. They all do this hugging game. Like, we know the purpose of this show is conflict resolution. You get into some conflict, you resolve, you move on. Sometimes the girls, not to bring in other girls, sometimes you have girls like Giselle who will hold a show back because she want to be mad for 2 and 3 seasons, right? Because in real life, that's how it would be. But because we're shooting the show, and this is a very small group, we need for y'all to try to work through it so we can keep the show going. So I get it that these women are in these weird positions that in real life it will not work that way. In real life, we don't hang around girls and boys, non-binary, whatever you identify, whoever you identify. But we don't hang around people who we don't like. Okay? That's not the case for this scenario. So now we have these women who get into arguments, and then they'll hug each other but they still mad. You got Side and Uber, you got Side and Brian hugging each other. You got Aaron, you got Uber and Brian talking about, I love you, I love you, I love you too, I love you, right? But then they still mad. So I can get how it's kind of like, girl, y'all said we hugged each other in the restaurant, we hugged each other in the kitchen, but y'all still mad at me. So I can get it. Girl, I just want to talk about Brian. I don't even want to talk about it because ain't nothing happened this episode. Girl, let's talk about Brian. Girl, I don't care. Let's talk about Brian. Okay, because that's what I really want to get into. Girl, fuck everything else. I remember the first episode of this season. I called Brian about racial Karen, and then I left it alone. Some of you who have been watching my reviews, shout out to the new girls and boys. Hey, y'all. Some of the girls who have been watching my reviews, they know that I have been trying to not be so emotionally invested in these reality shows because what happens is we become invested, we get upset about the things that we see, and then because of the show that they're on, these girls will hug it out and move on, and we still over here mad, right? Girl, we were mad at We were mad for Candy at Portia and Phaedra for the longest, right? And Candy been forgave Portia years ago, and we still hanging on to the stunt in the show that freaking Frack pulled. When I don't even want to go backwards. I'm just using that as an example. But we're still upset because you really could have changed Candy and Todd's reality with that stunt that you and your homegirl pulled on TV. But then we look up, and again, Candy been forgave Portia years ago. But we still mad. We talk about colorism on my channel when it comes to Real Housewives of Potomac, Basketball Wives. We've talked about it. And I stand by every single one of my videos. I ain't changing shit. Okay? I meant it then and I meant it today. However, I'm not about to be doing all this carrying on. And then I look up and girl, y'all back sisters. And I'm still over here hollering and screaming. and girl, y'all skipping down the road holding hands. Last week, when Brian and what's her name, Uba got into it, believe it or not, my initial reaction when Brian was mocking Uba, like, no, 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 no. I said, bitch. But I left it alone. I laughed about it, and I went on by my business. My initial reaction to Brian mocking Uba, if we're going to have some kitchen table talk, if we're just going to be honest, was it looked like a white woman mocking a black woman. Because I don't give a damn what nobody got to say. Brian can pass for white. I think that when most people look at Brian, they see a white woman. The only thing that makes a big question mark in Brian is that how. When some heat hit that head, mama got a fro. But if Brian, when it got a fresh perm, and went skipping down the sidewalk, they would think that Brian was a white woman. I let it go. I said I'm not getting caught up into Uba and Brian's mess. It is what it is. They talk, now this episode, even with Brian mocking Uba, they at the table crying, talking about I love you, giving hugs. Okay, girl, it is what it is. I'm not getting caught into that mess. And then here we go with this episode. Brienne says that she doesn't want Uber to come across like an angry black woman. One thing that I pride myself on is calling stuff out when I see it. Sometimes you don't see stuff. I don't care who you are, okay? I felt last season that Uber was out of order and out of line with Aaron when she snatched her glasses off her face. Out of order, okay? Out of line. I don't give a damn how much of a white woman Aaron is. You were wrong in that scenario, Uber. So I don't know if Brienne is thinking about last. I don't know. I don't like it. I think Brienne is trying to play into respectability politics. I don't think that Brienne identifies as a black woman. I think that Brienne has said she identifies as a black woman once last year, but I think she only says that because she thinks it's a cool thing to say. I think Brienne identifies as a white woman. I think Brienne lives her life as a white woman. So I think when Brienne tells this black woman, you don't want to be the angry black woman, girl, I think that most of us are looking at Brienne sideways. Not to say that if it was Kenya or Portia or Phaedra or Nene who told Uber that they would get a pass, but it would land differently. And it just would. It's no different than Eva, America's Next Top Model, a black woman, when she made a joke down to Atlanta, and I think she referred to somebody as a nappy-headed hoe or something like that. I can't remember. And Kenya, her friend, had to kind of, not check her, but Eva, you can't say stuff like that, even with you being a black woman, because with your green eyes and your light skin and your textured hair, you coming out of your mouth saying a black woman is a nappy-headed hoe, it just hit a little different. This might be too much of a real conversation for the New York crowd. Hey! It's no different than if a light-skinned woman called a dark-skinned woman a black bitch. While you still a black woman, it hit a little different. Hey! So even with Brienne having a black father, her telling Uber, you don't want to be an angry black woman because you want that white man to marry you, because that's basically what the heifer was saying if we're just going to be all the way. See, that's why I don't want to talk about this stuff, because it get a little too real over here for some of the girls. You know, the girls get real uncomfortable when we start talking about racism and all that and colorism and all that shit over here, right? The girls start squirming in their seats. But I took what Brienne was trying to say as you want that white man to marry you and you coming across as an angry black woman. And he not gonna marry you if you keep acting the way you act. Even though, Brienne, you was just, girl, putting bitches in funeral homes last year at the reunion. Are you not an angry black woman? Oh, okay. You have the nerve to tell Uber not to mock you, but just, girl, 24 hours earlier, girl, you was no, 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 no. Girl, next week it's no, 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 no. So Girl, we don't want to hear it, Brian. I'm not gonna get worked up over these ladies. I'm not, but we're gonna call it out. Brian, honey, you've been moving real questionable. I called you a biracial Karen the first episode of this season. I looked at you sideways when you were mocking Uber. And now my eyes are stuck on you with the comment you made this episode. And you know that it's a cold day in hell when Aaron, the real white woman of the group, is telling Brian, girl, you might not want to say that. Because let's just call a thing a thing. They look at Brian as a white woman too. Girl, it is what it is. If Uber don't care, then it is what it is. That's all I got. Brian, no sister. Well, not sister. Okay? Because you ain't no sister like that. But she ain't. It's so crazy how the rules apply to Uber, but they don't apply to Brian. Uber is an angry black woman. And can we just call a thing a thing? Okay, let me say this too. To move on from that, because I don't want to talk about that shit no more. They're all a mess. They are. Brian needs to own up to the fact that she's a messy heifer. You're messy. You went back and you repeated everything everybody said. And now you're crying about it. Okay? Uber is upset at Brian. I don't give a damn what Uber say. Uber is still upset at Brian because Brian told her business last year. Okay, cool. Be upset about it, but just say it. Sai is upset at Brian because Brian went and told Jenna that I hate you, right? That she hated her. And then Brian also went and told, I guess, told Jessel about some text messages when she called Pivot. Is it Pivot or Pivot? I think it's Pivot. Called him Dora. Dory was some cartoon character. Brian, you messy. And then Brian also went back and told Jenna that Aaron called her Poe. That's a Poe woman, baby. Poor. Okay, for the girls who be like, what's Poe? Okay. Um, so Brian is definitely messy, and they have a reason to look at Brian sideways. But it also doesn't take away from the fact that Sai was being messy when she told Uber's business. It still don't take away from what I feel is a fact that Aaron was dead ass when she said that Jenna was possibly having financial issues. Jenna, she said that Sai ain't the only one. Like Sai, Brian ain't the only one who done told me you was talking shit about me. But for whatever reason, Sai has it out for Brian. Even though Jenna is telling her that girl, she ain't the only one who told me you was talking shit about me. But her eyes on the prize, and it's Brian. Like everybody in this group, now I ain't gonna say everybody, but Jenna has questionable ways, the way that she moves, right? Even when Sai called her out, Jenna tried to act like, I didn't say that. I never said her name exactly. At that point, Sai really should have beef with Jenna, but she gonna let Jenna slide. I'm just saying they're all moving in a. Now I keep saying all. Brian moves in a way that's questionable when it comes to the friend group. And girl, when you make the comments you make, girl, you got a big question mark. Brian probably got about 5 or 7, 8, 9 question marks beside her name. Hello, she probably got the most question marks. But all these girls, they move in a way, Jenna moves in a way that's questionable because you say stuff and you insinuate stuff, and then when people all take it pretty much the same, then you kind of start walking it back like you didn't say what you said. When you know you meant Brian was being messy, but because you didn't necessarily say a name, that's the type of that's that white woman shit Jenna too, that Jenna playing. Because Jenna technically didn't say a name, but I think everybody assumed that she was talking about Brian. And now I didn't specifically point to a person. Okay, Jenna, girl. And then you got side mad at Brian, even though Jenna telling you, girl, Brian wasn't the only one who came and told me you was talking shit about me. So why just be mad at Brian? It is what it is, but girl, Brian, you a mess. That's really what it comes down to. Brian is a mess. Brian, you gonna forever be a mess. I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.